What's up, everybody? It's your man, Dame D, NYDC. Two mics up, business corner. Happy Friday, everybody. Look, we're rolling along, through this business corner season. And today we have a very special guest, and I think, she's pushing and working in an area sometimes that I think many of us either A, don't know about, or B, is overlooked. And today's guest joining me on the other mic is really going to help educate us, about regulated industry, if you will, the work that she's doing with her group to help make change. And I'm really inspired because, I'm one of those people that, knowledge is power. And I really like to read and dive into, so many different things. And for some, they may say oddball things, but today's guest and the work that she's doing really caught, my attention. And I'm just happy to have the opportunity to bring her to you and share her story with you. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring today's guest to the other mic, the incredible Donnica Hawes-Saunders. Donnica, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing really well. Wow, what an intro. Thank you for that.
Hey, we got to build this up. We got to make this work because you really are a very intriguing individual. I really have to say. And like I said, I know, a lot of people sometimes when they see this portion, this kind of looks like the glitz and the glamour, but there is a lot of education that goes in to really trying to understand and really find credible information in a story, if you will, about, I guess. And you really encapsulated that for me. And before I dive in, look, we always have to start with the person. Who is Donnica Hawes? I see you smiling. I can't wait to hear this because this has got to be incredible just from the smile on your face. Who are you and what do you like to do when you're not working?
I saw that question. I was like, wow, what an existential question. Let me think. Who am I, if you will? So to answer that question, though, at my core, I am a person that's committed to helping. Period. Point blank. If you take a look at my background and you look at all of the varied things that I've done, some people are like, oh, wow, what's the thread here? The thread is helping people. I've done it as a lawyer. I've done it on Capitol Hill. I've done it in multinational corporations. And now I'm doing it with my own consulting firm at the Averity Group.
I mean, you really have a powerful background. And I just want to kind of, if we can connect the dots, if you will, and talk us through your journey to where and how you got to where you are with the Averity Group. I think, it would be fascinating because, we're talking about, being a lawyer, working on Capitol Hill with some of the most powerful and probably most influential people in our country, making moves. What was that like and how did you get started, on your track and on your trailblazing career to where you are now?
It's a great question. And it's such an important question, which I know is why you asked, because one of my missions is to let people know that anything is possible. And so always follow your dreams, know that help is out there for you to really accomplish whatever it is you set your mind to. I will start with the fact that I was a lawyer who did not enjoy practicing law. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, now we're going to have to pivot. And I asked my network, where do lawyers that don't traditionally practice go? The resounding answer was Washington, D.C. That is where recovering lawyers go. So that's actually how I ended up in Washington, D.C. And I networked my way onto Capitol Hill. I did informational interviews. I didn't know anybody there. So I was just taking every single meeting, reaching out to people that I didn't know. And my very first opportunity came from an informational interview. And it was with the Committee on Homeland Security in the House of Representatives. Now, it's important to say that I showed up with a legal background. And so I had done kind of all the things necessary to be in the room, if you will. But then you just never know where opportunities are going to come to you. I spent 6 to 7 years on Capitol Hill, committees, in leadership offices and in personal offices, and decided that, I've done what it is I came here to do. How can I utilize this background and take it to the next level. And so I was recruited by the alcohol industry, actually. And I was like, oh, no. What do I look like working for a company? But they were able to present in a way where I could really see how I could make a real positive impact, not just on the company's bottom line and profits, but also for the communities that they operated in and desired to operate in. I was their Democratic lobbyist and also their head of U.S. corporate social responsibility. As if working in the alcohol industry wasn't challenging enough, I was then approached by the tobacco industry. Oh, wow. And I was like, look, I already like universe. What is going on?
What's going on? I'm already over here. Now you want to give me this too?
But I also have this saying that it's kind of like, if not you, then who? Right. And I was the first Black person that company had ever hired in their Washington, D.C. office, the youngest person they had ever hired in their Washington, D.C. office. Wow. And I was the only person with a Democratic background. I had worked for Democrats during my time on the Hill. And I walked into a situation where I was the only person with a Democratic background. Wow. Wow. And so a lot of firsts for that organization. But as challenging as that was, I grew exponentially. I mean, I learned so much. I learned how to bridge gaps. I would do it all over again. But I also knew that I wasn't going to do this forever. And so once I gained the expertise, I said, okay, I got it. Let me go out and help other companies and other organizations that are dealing with issues around reputation and communication, strategic communications and public policy, and really at that intersection. Let me go out and help. Wow. So that's what prompted my desire to start the Averity Group.
You know, that story, I mean, is really amazing because you really were in a I don't want to call it a pool, but you were in that pool where you really had to maneuver and dance, right? You know, from the politics side. And how much of that really has been able to help you now that you've started your own, you know, company or business that's really, you're really dancing and moving pieces, if you will, and helping people or businesses with their brand and regulation practices, if you will, in a nutshell. How much of that really has helped led and played into you, and what does a day look like for you then, you know, when you're actually at work and trying to, you know, make things happen?
It's a good question. And every day is different for sure, which is also what I like. It's not for everybody.
No monotony. You don't have the monotony of the day to day.
Exactly. But some people enjoy that for various reasons, and that's fine too. I knew at an early age that wasn't going to work for me, but I love your terminology of a dance. It's absolutely a dance. I call it on a daily basis strategy. There is a lot going on. And different people, different organizations have different priorities. Of course they do, and they should. How can we navigate within those different spaces to really help bring success for our clients? And it looks different depending on the industry, depending on what their ultimate goals are. Some clients are really looking to merge and integrate more into community and really kind of have some of those challenges with PR. Others are like, we want to take a stand on this. Help us take a stand in a way that's going to help mitigate some of the challenges that we know this is going to bring. So it really just depends on the client and the industry.
Right. And you know, and I apologize to our audience. You know, I sometimes I too, I'm a fan. I'm watching along with you, or as I'm asking. I really should have asked, you know, before that, you know, just to give our audience some clarity, right? And a little more specifically, you know, what is the the Averity Group, you know, and really some of the purpose, I guess, is a good word, you know, behind the action that you do. Because I know I just kind of jumped out there. I got lost in your story, and I was just feeling, you know, and I got caught up in the moment. So I apologize, but I just want to take a step back just to give a little clarity for our audience to get a better understanding of what you and your group do, what your organization does.
Yes, absolutely. So at our heart, we are a public affairs firm, a public affairs consulting firm. and we help companies and organizations in highly regulated industries transform their reputation. And we do this in 3 different ways. Some folks just like to stay in one lane. That's fine. Others like to tap into all 3. And we do this transformation at the intersection of communications, public policy, and social impact. It's one of the more unique things that I've found in this space, really coming at the challenges holistically, like that, versus just addressing some communications issues with just communications, or some regulatory issues with just government affairs. It is so much broader, particularly as the issues get more and more complex and complicated.
And that's the part I think that really fascinated me, because just the use of the word meeting the problem or the issue at its intersections, there's a lot that really, like in my mind, I'm thinking of all of these different things that you're meeting and building on, if you will, at that intersection. And how do you, let's just say, I don't know, working with a company in, let's say, tobacco or alcohol, that are meeting issues, like how do you build that out, or what does that look like, as an example, so people really understand what it is that you're doing at that intersection when you're identifying, these issues that the companies are having that needs to be addressed, or they feel need to be addressed, at any given time.
It's a good question. The tobacco industry is certainly an interesting one. I would say it starts with, what are the client goals? Because that at the root of it is what it's about. What is the client trying to achieve? Oftentimes, we found that it's a very kind of the mission of the organization too. They have their mission, they've been working towards it, they've been doing a great job, but these other challenges are coming up. One of the things that we do is we help them see that how their mission fits into broader society trends and into broader society, period. And kind of meeting people where they are and then taking them on that journey. Yes, it's fine to stay true to your mission and to have the communication, the talking points that you've always had. But if they're not working, and society is really dynamic, right? Like, things are changing, things are evolving. Our landscape, whether it's communications or public policy or social impact, looks very different today than it did 5 years ago, even 1 year ago. You add in that extra complexity of politics. We're in an election year. I mean, it's helping them understand that we must, my suggestion is always to be a little more flexible in understanding and also listening. It's okay not to agree, but then not to agree with where society is going or the trends, but how can you fit into it in a way that's going to help drive your company forward to where it is you want it to go?
That's a very interesting point, because wow, I don't know why it is, because you run into a lot of business owners who are stuck in, like, and I want to be kind in saying this, but they think they know what's best, for themselves, right? And I see you smiling, but we sometimes as business owners, we don't know all of the trends. And to have someone like yourself, you're really at the cutting edge, then really, or staying on those trends. And it just makes me wonder, like, how do you, in your organization, stay on top of these trends? Because like you said, in today's society, it seems like these things just change almost at the drop of a hat. And for you to be able to help someone stay compliant, or answer some of the highly maybe regulated things in their industry that they're dealing with, can be cumbersome. But like, how do you and your team really manage to stay on the cutting edge, or the edge of what's coming down the pipe, and to be able to help your clients?
It's a part of our daily jobs and practice. So we're very involved in what news is coming out in real time. We are also constantly not just monitoring on social media, but reading what's in print. We have an excellent network that we tap into to know not just what's happening, but probably what's going to happen next week, in 3 months. Into a particular industry, we're also tracking, what are your competitors doing?
Hmm.
Or
Okay.
your friendly competitors. Where's your industry going? Where's society
Gotcha.
going? Where are they going together, or are they growing apart? And then how can we help facilitate some of that alignment that's going to be necessary to really have you drive your company and your profits forward?
Man, I mean, this is so. I'm so intrigued, and I really appreciate you just really, just giving us a wealth of information as we're sitting here today. But I do want to take a short pause for the cause, ladies and gentlemen. I want to go ahead and thank our sponsors who have allowed us to continue to bring you guests like Donnica, really dropping these gems, and really educating us on industry. And we're going to come back after the break and talk more about industry and failing regulations and how Donica and her organization is helping to address that. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the short pause for the cause. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back fresh out the break. You see, we are joined today by the amazing, the lovely Donnica Hawes-Saunders. She has provided so much knowledge and information. It's mind blowing. I feel like a kid in a candy store just gaining all of this knowledge that she's sharing today. But Donnica, I do have a curious question because, you know, with industries today, I do think that there's a part that probably most of us don't really pay attention to, but from talking to you and listening to the conversation, some of our industry or industries are really failing, if you will, in the eyes of the greater community. And can you really kind of maybe take a moment to just kind of explain what that really means or what that looks like from your position, or maybe talking with the client and kind of going through maybe uncomfortable conversations? I guess it may be, when you're identifying areas that they're failing in.
Yes. So this is really an exercise in listening, because again, it's different for different industries. It's different depending on what area of the country that you're in. It's different depending on what city and locality. One of the things that we do if a client comes to us with this particular issue is we go out and we talk to and reach out to the broader community to really get their thoughts on how this company is behaving. Are they impacted? Are they even aware this company exists in their backyard? We really try to get an understanding of what's going on broadly from a communications and a community perspective. And then once we have that information, everything that we do must be data driven. I know that terminology is probably overused at this point, but it's the truth, because you want to operate outside of fact and data and not just emotion. And some of the industries that we deal with can garner a lot of emotion, rightfully so, but that just furthers the importance of being fact and data driven. Usually once we present kind of the thoughts about the companies and organizations, most of the time, sometimes they're aware, oftentimes they're not aware, but that really lays the foundation to have some of those difficult conversations that you mentioned. This is where you said that you wanted to go. This is where we are from a reputation, from a local reputation community perspective. Okay, these are our recommendations based on this data on how we can move forward. And everybody's appetite in terms of what those strategies look like is different. Some want to be super aggressive, and some are like, we just kind of dip our toe in. The work that we do, it can last for years, right? Because it takes a lot of time to transform minds. It takes a lot of time to fully integrate. And particularly if the political piece is part of it, it takes some time to really kind of build out the coalitions and the lobbying and all that goes into moving legislation and regulations forward.
And I think that's the part some people look at I don't want to say don't understand, but I think maybe misinterpret and have it backwards. Like Joe Public is like, okay, well, this is what we have. Why aren't we moving on this, or why isn't this happening faster? But there are, like you said, coming from just your experience of where you've been, it's the coalitions, it's the party, it's basically the signatures and the names that it need to happen to actually push this piece. And it's not just one piece though. It's going across both, the House sometimes and Congress, and this sometimes, especially election year, these things can get dragged out and dragged over, into a whole nother cycle. And I think that's the part that Joe Public uh misses out on. And like for someone like yourself, like when these things happen, right? When you're working on these things, how hard of a push, or how is it for you to be able to stay on top of these things, to still try to push the needle for your clients to get these initiatives and these regulations passed? Could that, have you seen some happen overnight, or have you seen some that last into the years?
It depends on a couple of different things. It depends on where we are in the year. It depends
Okay.
on if we are working on something at the federal level or at the state level or at the more local level. And it depends on what work and how dynamic this space is already. Will we start tapping into some existing work that's already being done that's just not moving fast enough, and you're looking for creative strategies to continue to move it forward at an expedited pace? Or are we starting something brand new? So there's a lot of different factors that go into it. I think another piece that's important is to manage expectation, because some folks are like, well, in 6 months, this is what we want. It's like, okay, well, in 6 months, this is what we think we can deliver. If we go out for another year, based on the other factors that are happening, this is what's possible. But we always strive, if I can be kind of frank, we always do deliver results.
Yeah, I mean, it's called it what it is, right? Look, this is what you do, and I'm not mad at that. And speaking in what you do, like, if there was one area, right, that if you had this magic wand that you could really maybe have the most impact, you know, and I don't want to lessen one of the other, but is there maybe one that with your magic wand that you're more passionate about and addressing, and kind of at all of those intersections making them happen, like sooner than later?
So the short answer is no. I'm equally passionate about all of my clients. That's actually the truth. I mean, one of the reasons I went out on my own to start the Averity Group is because I didn't just want to provide this level of expertise to one organization. I wanted to spread it out and be able to offer this help and assistance to organizations across the board. Our specialty is highly regulated, but I have found that if there's an organization or a company even dealing with one regulation, they feel highly regulated, even if that wasn't my initial intention. And so, of course, we help them and we work with them. And then we also have folks who are like, we're not dealing with any regulations necessarily, but we really are struggling with some complex issues from a communications perspective or from a social impact and community perspective. Are you all open to working with us? And the answer is absolutely. Politics doesn't have to be a piece of it, but our level of expertise can just benefit you if you even have some of the more standard communications and PR challenges.
You have such a vast swath of things, and this has been an amazing conversation. And sometimes you get lost in time, and I just want to make sure that before we go, I want to allow you, is there anything that I haven't asked or I haven't touched on, not just about you, but the Averity Group itself, that you would really like our audience, to know? Because I really want, anyone who's listening to this and is in a space where, this is what you do and you need assistance or you need someone to tap into. I really want our audience to go ahead and get behind Donnica and the work that she's doing. And I want to allow you to take a few minutes, Donnica, just talk. If I haven't asked any question, anything you want to talk about, please take a few moments to talk about anything that you wish that I didn't ask today.
Thank you for that opportunity. I think probably the only other thing I would add is the importance of the fact that we are a woman-led business and we are a Black-owned business. And those two facts undoubtedly color how we approach different issues. And so we are unique in our space based on those two identities. But the level of not just creativity, but life experience that we bring to some of the really challenging issues that we deal with is invaluable, not just for our clients, but also the broader communities in which they operate. And so I will take kind of the rest of my time, if I will, to just advocate on behalf of small businesses, women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, because the level of contribution that they do from an economic perspective in local communities, as well as a results perspective, quite frankly, it's just unmatched.
I could have not asked for a more inspiring and inspirational conversation today. You are awesome. You are amazing. And I really, appreciate you taking time, out of your busy schedule to join us today. It's been a blast. Donnica, I wish you nothing but success and everything that you do. And you are part of the Two Mics family. You're always welcome to come back and talk about anything whenever you're ready. But before you go too, if you have any social media that you'd like to go ahead and share, we'll make sure we put that in the show notes. I really want our community to go out and really get behind you and support what you're doing, because you're making a serious impact in our community.
I appreciate that. The best way to get in touch with my team is to just go to our website, which I know is dropped in the notes, but it's www.theaveritygroup.com. And if you scroll down, there's a form at the bottom of the website. Fill out that form and a member of my team will reach out.
Couldn't have said it any better. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to drop this out here for our viewers to go ahead and take a look at before we close out. There you have it, theaveritygroup.com. Make sure you go out. If you have questions, are there consultations or anything that people reach out to you? So you see her shaking her head, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. If you have questions, concerns, you need consultation, please go ahead and reach out to Donnica and her team. Again, thank you for taking time out, Donnica. It's been an awesome conversation. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Another amazing episode, Two Mics Up Business Corner. You can check it out Fridays, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on our YouTube channel. I air it on my LinkedIn page and on X. I am your humble host, Damon Cunningham, aka damednyc. You can follow me, IG, Facebook, X, and probably a whole lot of other places that I don't know where I'm at. But go ahead, you can follow me if you like. You can continue to follow the show, Two Mics Up. We are also on social media, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you're here watching this on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and you subscribe before you go and hit that bell so that you'll be notified about all the newest content coming to you from me here at Two Mics Up. And I'm telling you what, we got a lot going on this year. Season 6, Mogul TV Global Network. We are rolling on. Talk show. Check us out Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Mogul TV Global Network, the #1 network for positive programming, 32 countries, 1 million subscribers. Make sure you check us out. And like we always do at this time, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, I'm going to ask you to do a couple of things. May you stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out.